What's up, guys? I want to talk about this for a little bit. This thing with the Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. There's some YouTube videos in the gun community going around now, and I got a message about this. If you don't know what's going on, they ordered a crap load of ammunition and a bunch of targets, and these targets are of civilians, regular civilians that are armed. But what's really shocking about these targets is that some of them are children with a gun, some of them are pregnant women was one that's used as an example now. They're just average looking people, but because there's women and children, it creates this huge, oh my God, reaction. Like, how can the government be training to kill women and children? Um, and they're in regular scenarios. Like, I think one's like a playground or something, and it's like a 14-year-old girl with a gun and like a little kid, looks like maybe her little brother or something, like she's protecting him. So the knee-jerk reaction to this should be, oh my God, this is disgusting, and the government's horrible, and all this stuff. And although I would say it's certainly uncommon, and it definitely would raise an eyebrow, it should. Your natural reaction as a normal moral person should be, hey, wait a minute, why are we practicing shooting kids? That should be your first, your initial reaction to it. But the more I thought about it, the less I care. And don't get me wrong here, I do care. I still think that it's not right, but I'm not shocked by this. And I think this is one of those situations where, of course, it's there's individual cases where maybe a child with a gun pointing at you may be more of a danger than other situations, but this is kind of one of those hypocritical moments that a lot of people have where you stereotype things. Okay, if I'm looking at a target and it's like a 6'5" black dude with a shotgun, that should be something that I should be like, oh my God, I need to protect myself. That's the target I need to practice on. And you say, all right, well, here's the little cute white kid, and he's got the gun in his hand, and no, it's just a fake gun, or it's just a mistake. And a gun pointed at me is a gun pointed at me, and it doesn't really matter who the person is behind it. It should be a threat. I watched a video by Stanley Emanuel, and he put out, and he basically said, he's kind of disgusted by it, which I agree. It's shocking, and he said he would hesitate. Now, this is what I found interesting, is because I think all of us would hesitate, particularly for children. Women, maybe a little bit, but children, you wouldn't just, you see a kid with a gun, you're not going to automatically take out your gun and just shoot him with no question. You will hesitate. Morally, something inside of you is going to want to stop that from happening. But a gun pointed at you is still a threat. So I raised this question: is it really that shocking? I don't think it should be predominantly the targets used, but I think out of every couple hundred normal, I say normal, an average situational target, which would be an adult male with a gun, and that's what a lot of these targets are. When you get the realistic targets, they're adult men with guns, and that's who we consider criminals, adult men. Of course, we know there are a lot of women who commit crimes. There are a lot of women who are dangerous. Does the woman being pregnant, should that be shocking to anyone? Does it mean, like, if you're a pregnant woman, you can't rob a bank and hold everyone hostage and create an actual threat? The children thing's a little bit, I think it's on a little bit of a different level. There is a lot of a chance that if a child had a real gun, it would be a mistake, but I can understand a little bit that from maybe the government's perspective, a person pointing a gun at you is a threat, and they're trying to, I wouldn't use brainwash, that's a little strong, but they're trying to prepare military personnel to get used to stuff like that. I don't think, of course, everyone makes this into, okay, now the whole United States or something is going to be under attack, and they're training us to, training them to kill us, average people, for some kind of uprise. I don't know if it's that extreme. That's the whole point here. I don't agree with it. I'm not all for kid targets and stuff like that, but I'm just saying I don't think it's as shocking. It's not as weird as some people may think it to be. And again, I don't think it should be the only targets used, but every now and then you throw something like in that, and it'd be nice to see a military person's or even a cop's natural reaction to that. Because in real life, some kids have guns, some young teenagers, in urban areas, they are sporting a firearm on them, and they do pose just as much of a threat. But it questions stereotyping, and a lot of people are shocked by this, but they forget that, and I think sometimes it's a little bit hypocritical. Most of us who do carry firearms, we'd have no problem. Guy walks into a store, with a hoodie on and the dark glasses, and he pulls a gun out. We automatically, our mental says that is a threat. We need to stop that threat, blah, blah, blah. But, the pregnant woman, is she any less of a threat? Could have the exact same gun in her hand, but would we hesitate because of that? It's an interesting thought. I just don't think it's really as shocking. I know people, like the person I'm messaging, he's kind of like taken back by what I had to say. And that's basically what I was trying to say is like, I don't think it's as shocking as it really sounds. And, I'm not for it, but I'm not disgusted by it. It's just, this is reality. The reality of life is that when you're on duty, and I have no experience with this, I'm just talking as a person, when you're on duty and your life is in danger with someone pointing a gun at you, who's behind that gun? Should it matter as much? Kids are different, but the woman thing, I don't know. I don't know, really. I don't want to make this sound like I'm a horrible person or anything, but I'm trying to be real about it. It's not really as shocking as it may seem, and I don't think our government's out to get us. I mentioned this in the conversation. Um, People talk about a day where the government fights the people, like a civil war. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I'm not saying don't be oblivious to it. Don't like never prepare for anything like that, but I think it's unrealistic to expect an army to fight against the people they live with, the land that they live on. I think most times when an army, any kind of military or army is successful is when they're fighting a foreign enemy. Every single person in the military, well, not every person, but the majority of them, they have their own families at home. I think that there wouldn't be the participation by the military that people expect. It's not just, and people say, it's an impossible fight. They got all this technology and stuff. Why are they going to fight their own families and friends? I really don't foresee that being a reality ever. It takes a special kind of person to betray your entire country. If it was really something like that, where it's all the people against the government and military, that'll never happen, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I don't think I'll ever see it in my lifetime because they will literally be fighting their themselves. And it doesn't make any sense. I don't think people would actively participate in something like that. So just my opinions, my thoughts. I think these targets are a waste of money in the amount. I mean, they got a lot of them. But I'm just saying, for every 100 targets of the common threat, like I said, average big dude with a gun, I understand that. But for every 100 of those, you throw in one woman target or maybe like a kid with a gun, I'm not shocked by it. That's all. Reality is a lot. Real life, stepping out your door is a lot more shocking sometimes than paper targets. I don't think it's a way really to brainwash our soldiers into killing innocent people. Remember, these targets, it's not just some kid in a swing, on the playground. That's an innocent person target. It doesn't matter who's behind a gun. If a gun's pointing at you, they are an immediate threat. I think a lot of people, even trained military people, would hesitate to shoot a child, but I'm sure there's been plenty of times where they had to. And of course, the regret is when they find out that the gun wasn't real. But I think that some of them have they can sleep a little better at night if there's a situation where there was a child who did pose a threat. Either way, having to do something like that, it is horrific, no matter what the circumstances are. Even if it's a gangbanger, 14-year-old, I'm sure every person ever had to go in a situation like that and take a child's life. It is something that haunts you. So realistically, it's not a pretty thing. But I'm just not as shocked as some people may be with this whole thing. I think it's a little bit of a waste of money on the government's part, but it's just my opinion. That's all. Let me know what you think in the description. For guns or against guns. What do you think about that? I actually like to hear the opinions of people who are really against guns. Because remember, most people who are against guns, they still all agree, for the most part, that the government has guns. A lot of these people say, well, civilians, you shouldn't have guns, and they're only for the military and the army. Well, what do you think about this? If you're really anti-gun for people like me, just average citizens, what do you feel about this this whole situation with these different targets of just common folk? The unexpected threat, women and children. I don't know. It's interesting. Good topic for discussion. So let me know what you think. Video responses are always welcome. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not all for killing kids and women. I'm just saying, a person with a gun is a person with a gun. And sometimes it's hard for us to differentiate what really is a threat or not. And I think the real purpose of these targets are to acclimate someone in the military, different from me and you, acclimate someone in the military to not letting emotion overtake their immediate decisions because it may cost them their life. Something to think about. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.